Welcome to the Love and Victory Show with Val, where we will bring you candid conversation. In each conversation, we will talk about real life ups and downs while tackling unresolved matters. We will also unmask issues and truly speak straightforward and candid about our needs and brokenness, while allowing ourselves to exhale so that we can become victorious. This is a place where you can be open to the possibilities of living life in abundance while gaining tools to become bold and complete. So let's get to it.
The conversation and topics discussed on the Love and Victory Show with Val are meant to provide insight, give hope, and provoke inspiration for all of its listeners. Now, you too can reach our audience and deliver a message that will help improve their lives by becoming a sponsor. Our audience is always looking for ways to improve upon their living experience. Your products or services might be just what they need. For more information on how you can become an official sponsor, go to lvwithval.com. That's lvwithval.com.
On today's episode, we're going to have candid conversation titled The Life of an Influencer with Mallory B. Richardson and Alley Leto. Mallory is vibrant, loyal, dedicated, hardworking, and ambitious. Okay, Mallory, break that down for us. Tell us why you chose these words to describe you.
So many life experiences have shown me that those are a culmination of exactly who I am.
Okay.
So life experiences, opportunities to challenge myself and bring others along the way with me, and just always level setting and creating new challenges for where I'm going in life.
Oh, wow, I like that. Okay. Well, that does describe you. Okay. So let's hear about the dedicated part of you. What makes you dedicated?
So in this life, or the life ahead of us, we won't be able to accomplish very much if we don't stick to the path and stay the course, no matter the terrain. So for me, learning that piece early in life, committing to hard work, has driven my purpose and passion all the more in this layer of influence in social media land.
I love that. Okay. Now, Miss Alley, on to you. A mother, business owner, adventurous, witty, and inviting. Now, tell me why those words describe you. Tell us.
I think those words are a great description of who I am as a person, and it's just like a accumulation of everything that I've done in all these years that I've been on the earth. It's just they're descriptive words because they are a big part of who I am. Being a mother, being inviting when people come into my home. I love a good sense of humor. That kind of stuff is just something that makes me come to life. I feel incredible when, I'm able to do these things on my day-to-day basis.
Okay, then. Are y'all ready? These ladies are transparent. They are ready to have a candid conversation. Before we go any further, I'm going to allow my sidekick over here to go with Miss Allie's bio. And then, of course, I know you have something on, Miss Mallory. Yeah. So let's walk that.
I started Miss Alley. In her bio states that she is Houston-based lifestyle digital content creator and magazine contributor. She created Life of Alley in early 2016. Her vision was to create a space on the web where women could find inspiration and encouragement. Her main intentions is to help other women by sharing her own personal experiences while sharing things related to home, style, and everyday life. So
I love that.
Yes. Nice.
I really like that. That's a good reason for even stepping out here and doing it, because a lot of people are on the internet that's just sharing junk,
right,
with no purpose, with no what are you doing? So I love to hear that, and we're going to go in a little deeper on that in a little bit. Now we're going to move on to Miss Mallory.
She's Mallory. So
Give the people what they want.
off the base,
Come on through, Shania.
she is loving. She is amazing. She is a coachee, and she will express more of that when she gets there. But she's been in coach for about.
Coach. She just coached
11.
people?
Co-
Or she
no.
okay, well, I'm going to
I
cut
said
you off.
she's gonna get into
Okay,
that.
thank you. Okay.
She's been in coach retail that the purse and the clothing that for about 11 years. She is from North Carolina.
Yes.
Good Southern country city girl.
Southern country city girl.
I like
it.
that. I like
Well,
that.
it sounds
Let me
like,
add that to my
it
notes.
sounds like you probably know her. Yes. Okay, so we're going to leave that alone and let you give your own bio. Miss Mallory, go ahead and give that bio.
Yes, Shania and I have become quite acquainted. I'm Mallory B. Richardson, owner of Mal the Model, the brand, and the platform experience. I'm a working plus-size model of 6 years and soon-to-be handbag blogger. That's another layer that I'm integrating between the layer of influence and practical lifestyle and working entrepreneurship. So aside from running my own fashion house, was originally based in North Carolina, now it travels with me as I have recently relocated to Houston. I'm adding hips and handles to my fashion and beauty inclusive hips and handles.
So
okay.
the hip and the hand. Oh,
So
I
I'm a
love
hippie
it.
curvy girl, and social media has handles, and so do my top handle bag.
Oh,
so
I love
that's
that.
a play. And I thought of this name probably over a year or so
and
ago.
handle.
And I'm like, Jesus, every day I come up with more ways and reasons to get deeper and deeper into what you were talking about our passions and what we
Yes.
love, and
Yes.
just creating is why I'm here.
Well, I absolutely love it. As you guys can hear, we are getting ready to learn something about an influencer. And what does that entail and how does that work? Because when I go onto social media today, if I can be very honest with you guys, it's difficult for me because it's some of the stuff out there, I'm a little older, just a tad bit older. I don't like it because it's junk. And I see a lot of the young people really disrespecting themselves or allowing the spotlight for the second to disrespect them. And so when it was brought to me, my team brought to me, hey, what about an influencer? My first thought, to be honest with you, I don't know. Because I want this brand not to be what we do on the Love and Victory show, not to be what I want it to be something positive. I want it to truly be something that is respectful and tasteful and that people can grow from. Mm-hmm. And so my team, Shania and them, kind of had to, and I love my team because they're young, they're out there, they see things a little different. And she's like, no, Miss Carter. I mean, she challenged me. No, Miss Carter, I think you're looking at it differently. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So then she brought Mallory to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, yes, class, I like. Then I'm in a photo shoot, and I meet this wonderful lady here. And we just connected. And it just was so funny how that happened. We're having a conversation, and I learned that she's an influencer. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm having a podcast about this. I have to get you on. And it wasn't that, Mallory, what you were doing was not enough. It was just the universe aligning itself.
Yeah, I was going to use the
You
same
understand
term,
what I'm saying?
alignment.
Things have a way, and this is what I drive Shania crazy with. She always wants to understand, well, where you get that one from? Or what is that all about? I truly, I truly
Just
listen.
wanna know.
I truly listen to what God tells me, and it really comes from Him. And it just aligned. And for me to walk into this room, listeners, and you see how the ladies are in here having candid conversation before we even start, we're going to have a great conversation. So it really aligned. Thank you, ladies, so much. With that being said, we're going to dive right on in it. Let's talk about what is an influencer and how did the term come about? Who wants to take that? What is an influencer? Educate me and the listeners.
Personally, I feel like everyone is an influencer. At work, at school, a mother, a father, a grandmother, we all have a level of influence. I think as far as like this industry where there's influencers, I think it's mostly people on a digital space sharing their life in a way where they're sharing helpful tips and information to the viewers that are online checking out that particular platform. But I personally feel like everyone on the planet Earth has like an influence of some sort.
I like that. I like that. What do you have to say on that?
Totally agreed. Whether you're on a social platform, your website, YouTube, influence in that way, we all have something to contribute and something to share that would benefit the next party, whether or not you turn it into a career, monetize it, or brand it.
Oh.
So for me, I came into this as a clothing stylist and then transitioned into plus size modeling, and then it's like it just kept peeling back like a biscuit. Like when you would do photo shoots and get hired for a campaign, and then it turned into, oh, well, I want you to start using your Instagram, and oh, you can do spokes modeling too. Oh, it's a big thing to do videos and boomerangs and partnerships and collab with other influencers. So it kind of just kept going, and it stopped being this finite or one viewpoint, but it opened up and it's an entire platform and brand now, and not just one specific way to communicate or share experiences, products, lifestyle.
Well, what I hear and what I'm hearing you guys say, that you guys started, this is your passion. You found a passion because it's something you enjoy doing, and that is you enjoyed modeling, you enjoyed clothes, and then from the clothing and you just having that light, people say, hey, why don't you try this and why don't you try that? And it just evolved. Yes. What I hear from you, pretty much the same thing, but you have a love for people.
I do. I love people, especially specifically women, and just connecting and watching them just develop and grow in ways they never thought possible. So when I started my social media, it was because I had gone through a bad chapter in my life. And so I looked up at the sky and I was like, God, I need to have some sort of direction. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I don't have any professional career skills right now. I've been home doing laundry and cleaning.
Who am I?
Yeah, who am I? I was really on this path, because I was on this journey of motherhood, and then something just stopped me in my tracks. It got me on my knees, started praying more, and and that's when God said to me, he came to me and he said, pick up that camera and start taking photos. And that's kind of how it started for me. I picked up the camera, started taking photos. I didn't know what bloggers were, influencers were. I had no idea, because that's not something that was part of my growing up. Social media wasn't a big thing for me growing up. But I got onto the space. I started sharing photos. A brand reached out and asked me if they could purchase one of the images to do marketing campaigns, and I said, oh my goodness, I have no idea what any of this means, but I knew in my heart, I'm like, God, it's all your timing. And the women that I've met in the last few years, I know they were all it was all orchestrated by him.
When I hear that, it's just speaking to my soul, because especially when I hear women, and the Love and Victory show with Val is not just about women's healing. It's about all, but especially women. And it goes back to when we find ourselves at our lowest and we really let go, that's when God comes in and he just really, oh my God, you start to have a conversation. You really find out who you are and what you're made of at your lowest moment, when you let go and you really surrendered it all.
And that's the hardest part, is letting go. Yes. Once you let go and say, God, just show me show me.
Show
And, and it's not like this lightning bolt in the sky.
No.
There's like these little tiny moments, right, that
Yes.
happen in your life. And then looking back now after X amount of years, I'm like, that was all done with purpose. And that was all done by God, because there's no way all of those people would have came into my life, the opportunities. So something I was feeling so negative about, like not having purpose, not having, kind of feeling fearful.
Yes.
I don't have that anymore. So it's a great
The vulnerability.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yes, yes.
It's a scary space, though.
It's a
It is.
very scary space. We talk about that on the show because I'm very open, and that's one of the things for me going through some of the challenges I've had in my life early on in my life. I have learned in my later years, just a few years older than y'all.
Yes,
Just a few. I learned that by starting to have a conversation, letting go of this need to impress, and just really being open and transparent, is very healing. And once that healing place that takes place, what ends up happening, you really are opening up yourself to the possibilities that are there, because we block with control. We don't let people in, we don't let things in, and we end up missing out on the very things that God has for us. So I know that was a little off. We're going to come on back over
It
here.
needed to be said and
Yeah.
heard and absorbed.
Okay. Talk about how talk about how you became an influencer in the digital content creator. Let's talk about that. Anybody?
I'll start this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Allie, you were talking about, social media not being a part of your upbringing, and that wasn't a thing then. And so when I was in college, and we're not going to age ourselves here, but we just get better with time, But you guys can know, you can Google it. When Facebook kind of came about, and I was in college, and I think it was my sophomore year. And so it was literally just for socialization, keeping up with people you went to high school with, people from your hometown communities.
Yes.
It wasn't about, let me share my boutique, my new boutique, my new this new restaurant that I went to. It wasn't about that. And Instagram came to me. My cousin knew I liked to take selfies. She was like, you are photogenic, like you like to take pictures. And that too came about in college. So when homecoming came about, or there was a weekend and time or an excuse to go out, we were just taking pictures. And then, like I said, it just kind of shifted when I got into modeling. And it became this place of, okay, you can advertise and be on this billboard, but what about the people that actually you've come across, you've met, who visit and frequent your website? Like, wouldn't they like to see your information and your videos and content on Instagram?
Wow.
So it became a shift from more personal to more professional.
Okay.
And a way to kind of share. And as the business and the brand expanded, and then strategies come into play with your digital content development. So things that attract Instagram now didn't really matter 5-6 years ago. Right. So then finding it honestly, being an influencer is a never-ending rotation of advancing your approach.
Okay.
To align with trends, algorithms, and the fun stuff, right?
The algorithm.
Well, I have a question on that, and of course, this is from my own business perspective and my age group. I hear you saying Instagram. Why isn't it Facebook? My generation is more Facebook.
It depends. It depends on your audience.
Oh,
yeah. So
how do you transition more from, or is there one better than the other?
My assistant, she is a up and coming boutique owner, and I think she's almost at a year now. She gets more response on Facebook. The Facebook pages, the applications and automations you can set up, the ads, and Facebook and Instagram are intertwined. So really depending on your images, what you have to say. I think more bloggers and vloggers are using Instagram and YouTube.
What is a blogger and a vlogger?
So
okay, I know what a
blogging-
blogger is. What's a
yeah,
vlogger?
so the difference in the two is like
Educate
they
us.
do kind of the same, and that's where Hips and Handles is going to be like a hybrid of the two. So blogging is the writing of, text, and vlogging is videoing it and talking like what we're doing, but if I was holding my phone right now and recording me talking to you.
Okay, I like that. So jump in here. What do you have for this, Allie?
Oh gosh, I can relate to Mallory where she said, it started off on a personal level and then it turned professional. So for me, when I started, I wanted to get off Facebook only because it was just kind of a negative space. And I was really attracted to the Instagram platform because it was more artistic. It was like you scroll through and it was beautiful, like beautiful images, beautiful captions. And so it really attracted me to that space. So I decided to start sharing on that. And when I was sharing on that, it was more of it's kind of like talking to myself on my captions.
Okay.
So I was like, girl, get out there and do what you got to do. Like, it was all these like empowering messages that I was sharing, but it was really like me talking to myself, if that makes sense.
It does.
And what that was doing was it was attracting women that were in the same position, women that were struggling, women that were having hardships. And so that kind of built my community online. After that, that's when the brands kind of started, reaching out, talking to me about certain campaigns that they had, different press trips, like those sorts of things that, came about. But it really started as a personal kind of experience that turned into professional, like Mallory was mentioning.
I like hearing you guys say that because you guys are helping me. Remember, the whole reason you guys are on here is to educate me and our listeners. Well, when I think about that, I hear a lot of people say, and even in my own circle, that Facebook was negative. But one of the things that I never experienced, and I think that has a lot to do with followers and that delete button, I never experienced negativity because when I got on Facebook, it was my way of staying connected to my classmates, to my family, to my friends. And because I have a no-nonsense attitude when it comes to negative stuff, or even being connected on my social media with someone that is putting out negative, I will delete you because I will not be a part of someone spreading negativity out there. And I just won't. So I would agree with you when you say that, and when I hear you guys say that Facebook was a place that didn't allow you to. It was negative because I heard it. I just didn't see it on my trending, and maybe I was more. What's the word I want to use? It's just maybe the friends or the people that I had associated, they may have known that about me because they know that delete. Delete.
Yeah.
But I do want to explore with you guys how. Kind of taking this a little deeper, how do you learn more about blogging and vlogging? And how has that grown your business? And has that been anything negative? Has that been negative towards your business? Have you gotten anything negative with that?
I feel like when you get into this industry, there's a lot to learn, but there's no manual, there's no policies or procedures. It's not like set up like a corporate environment where you have everything kind of lined up. You go in and you have like a special training week or whatever.
Right.
We don't have that. So a lot of the stuff that, Mallory and I are probably learning as we go. We learn it from other people. We learn it from webinars, educational things. So a lot of it is just learned on the way. And like Mallory mentioned earlier, this space is always changing. So even when you finally got into a rhythm where you know what you're doing, it's like,
Don't stop.
it goes another direction and you're like, gosh, like what, how, okay, I got to like redirect. So, we talked about the different platforms, and for me, I like to diversify my, my outreach. So I use Facebook for certain things. I use Instagram for another. I use Pinterest to draw traffic to my website. I have a website. I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't really done much on that. But you just have to like really diversify because you never know. One day you may hop on Instagram and then your account is completely gone. Because sometimes that has happened to people that have worked so hard and then their accounts are gone.
How could that happen?
Sometimes people hack into your accounts and
Wow.
Yeah,
so
they'll flip
yeah.
your page on you. And
I'm confused.
So
Yeah.
a mega influencer or somebody, let's just say 50,000 followers. I had a girlfriend, this happened to her. Somebody hacked into her Instagram page, blocked her out, was using all her images. I even had somebody create a fake of my page and use my professional images that I've paid or collaborated with and for.
So how do you get that back? Or
your
what do
content,
you do?
you can't, like your images, they can screenshot. And there are repost apps that pretty much allow them to save it to their phones, which is
Isn't
tough.
that illegal?
I think there's
In some
copyright.
respects,
There's
yes.
copyright laws to protect, but I think it's such a space that is fairly new.
That
Where like there are things to protect you, but again, anything like that, it takes work and time and effort. So sometimes
and money.
right? So there's bad people online too.
Yes.
Wow. You know, I couldn't imagine it's kind of like taking my business. You guys are teaching me. That's taking my business and someone stealing it from me. Your hard work. You guys have worked hard, and then you have someone go out there and steal your image.
Your entire
And
image.
your entire image.
brand.
And you have to start over. So what happens when that happens?
My girlfriend, she had to start from scratch. She had to
All
recreate
of her followers.
recreate her handles, because now you've lost your Instagram handle. Whoever hacked it still has the original account. So how I brand myself, Mal the model, if somebody got a hold of that, I would probably have to shift to Mallory B or Mal the brand. And then that goes across all platforms, because you can find me using that same handle anywhere. And like you were mentioning, Allie, you have Pinterest. Well, it's a big uptick in fashion business on Twitter, and I grabbed the handle. I'm not as active as I probably should be there,
But that's yours.
Well,
you taking notes.
Taking
Taking
notes.
notes. Well, you know, it's good you're saying that, because again, the social media and how people are doing their businesses and starting up business and influencing out there. This is good information that they need to know. Wow. I just couldn't imagine. I keep going back. I've worked so hard for something, and you take it from me. Oh,
trademarking too.
Right.
Have you trademarked?
I haven't done that yet.
oh well, let me just tell you.
It's on the list.
Let me tell
Finances.
you, I have trademarked everything
Yes.
about me, because I had to learn that early on, that people will come and snatch it up, because it's not yours until you trademark it.
Right.
And it's viable, and they know it.
They know it. Wow. Okay, let's talk about you and your everyday life looks like an influencer. What does it look like? What does life look like as an influencer every day?
Every day's really different. So
Today.
So today I get up, get ready, kind of go through my emails, come here, do the podcast. After the podcast, I'm going to head out and do some work, have a business meeting for lunch, and then I have an appointment later on. So there's like all these different things. And then in between that, I try to create some kind of content, do some posting. But I usually try to brainstorm ideas a month in advance.
Okay.
So what I do is like, okay, so June's coming up. What usually happens in June? We're hanging outside. We're like going on picnics. So that sort of stuff kind of starts brainstorming ideas for me of how I'm going to structure my month. And then from there, then I fill it in with appointments, what's going on, photo shoots, meetings, that kind of stuff.
And for you?
Allie, you're more organized than me.
I appear that way.
People tend to think that we like have it all mapped out and all figured out, and it's just like some days we wake up and it's bad, and some days it's raining outside, no content, unless we flip the content to capture what's happening right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I try, honestly, she's good at saying a month out. I would say a week or two for me.
So you're very, what is the word I want to say?
I kind of fly by the seat a little bit.
A little spontaneous.
And, and that works for you.
I have to, like, for me, It's working for now.
Yeah.
And it has been working. Not saying it's not a better way, because I would love to try and wrap my head around a month out of planning. And a lot of my influencer friends, they'll say, oh, I shoot my content on the weekends. Well, that's cool when you work 9 to 5, but when you're like me and a working entrepreneur and you work retail management, your weekends aren't yours.
That's right.
It's
when I can make it happen.
It's when I can make it happen. And with COVID and hours being minimal, with the malls, it's more like 11 to 7, like a second shift. I either have to get up at 6 in the morning, prep hair, makeup, and shoot at home, and then transition to work and work all day, or I have to like split day and night. And so trying to check emails on lunch breaks when I get them, or when I'm walking in my car, people are probably like, this girl, did she put her phone down? And it's like, no, because
that's your lifeline.
Today, for instance, is a day off, but I started it with you
With
guys.
the podcast.
Yes, and it's a great day. Yes.
We feel
Thankfully, I had 2 or 3 pods left of coffee, so I'm like, okay, cool. I got
can do
enough to
this.
get me through a couple days.
I like that.
And today is going to be laundry. It's going to the bank. It's trying to maybe squeeze in some content this afternoon, replying to some emails, and maybe finally integrating my first blog post in my website. Like, it literally is living in my notes section in my phone, and I got to put it up
Just
there.
gotta. Well, I think what I'm hearing is that it's as you said, there's no map to this. You just kind of have to figure out what works best for you. And for me, I probably drive the team crazy because I too kind of need to have somewhat of a schedule because I have so many other things going on. And they want me to be available. And it's only that window that's available. It's kind of like today, Shania, I'm on this Zoom call, and she knew I'm on this Zoom call, but she's coming to me and she's like, did you schedule this meeting? Who is this person? And I'm like, I don't know. And so she's like, well, aren't they supposed to be? I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm over here, just make it work. Just make it work. So I get it. Things happen when you have to be spontaneous, but you also have to have some
structure.
Some structure. You have
for me, being a mom of 3, like I really am the type of personality where I'm spontaneous. Yeah.
But them babies ain't.
I can't. Like with our schedule, like I can't. Otherwise, I won't get anything done. Yeah, so it's important to have a little bit of structure, but a little bit of flexibility
At the same time.
How does someone become an influencer?
Start.
Oh, wow. I like that. Just start.
Just start.
Just start.
Like, is it reaching out to companies, brands, and saying, hey, like,
Your content and aura and socials are going to draw them. I wouldn't start. First of all, I'm a little seasoned in the game, and I literally with pitching is
not a good
anxiety. Look. Like, no, you should.
Oh, really?
They say that you should. I have operated on the more passive side of things, meaning they're going to come to me.
Okay.
But it's nothing wrong going to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they say. So do you go to?
So when I first initially started in the space, like brands would come to me all the time. So I kind of got spoiled with that. And then now this influencer space in the digital space has grown so much in the last 3 years that it's a huge market of people that brands can go to. And so to find me, it's like a needle in a haystack, right? So now I've gotten to the point where I'm definitely pitching. So I pitch ideas. So this is where my strategy of planning ahead. So I can reach out to a brand in May and say, in June, these are my ideas of things that I want to share with my readers. Is there any way we can work together on this?
Wow.
So that's why it's important to have that strategy ahead of time, just so that you can plan.
And I agree with you on that, because it's kind of like having a story. I want to do a show. And so if I plan that show out, we sit down and we talk about what the topic is. We have the topic laid out. Then we talk about, we get to the guests, and it's always, where do you get this guest from? And literally.
well, no. So she'd be like, I got a guest. I'm like, okay, who are they?
The vetting
what do
their
they do?
story?
What's their story? And you kind of do the same when I bring you guests.
Yes.
Like, okay, who are they? What do they do? So it's like above thing because, I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
want to have
is.
people that everyone has meaning, but like someone that's going to help everyone.
And I love
in
this
conversation.
influencing. I'm intrigued with it now. So, hey guys, trust me, we will be collaborating on some things.
I'm like, I'm waiting for the DM.
It's coming. I'm
The
telling you,
email.
we will be collaborating because we're learning. I mean, y'all
Yeah.
teaching me, y'all bringing me out of my comfort zone.
But like Mallory said, anyone that wants to get into the
Literally.
space really just has to start.
Well, I'm not looking to influence. I need some influences in my world, but I can influence.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, well, teach me.
Well, I mean, in some of the bigger, we have our level and what we're doing, and I'm sure Allie has her audience, but then we also have people we look up to online. Like, I have a couple bloggers that I just gush every day when I see their stuff. And I'm like, they were once where I am.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That-
or even where I first started. And a lot of the tips that they give are very real life. Like, it can be as simple as I use this product every single day. Why
Well,
not do a
that-
video or a story or Boomy and send them a pitch and say, hey,
That
can you give me
makes
an
sense.
entire kit, and I'll do a breakout and I'll write about it and vlog about it.
I love that. You know what? I love that because when you think about it, there are certain things that you really are passionate about, and that passion is going to come through for that brand because you're connected to that passion, and that's what that brand is pushing at that time. Wow, we have to talk. Lots of talk, lady. Educate. Okay, why being an influencer it's such a popular thing? Now that's getting in that space where
I think it's a popular thing because a lot of the people that want to get into this space think it's like this easy ride. They think it's, they just see people online that have had success, but they don't see all the years before and all the work. So that's why I think the space attracts a lot of people because I always compare it to ice skating. You see an ice skater on the ice and they're like, wow, they look amazing. I could do that. I could strap on skates, get on there. You get on there and you look like a fool, right?
Thighs are burning. It's hard.
I love
hard.
it. It's kind of like people looking from the outside
Right.
of what you do, but because you have hit all the pitfalls, you fail, you scratch your knees, and you've gotten up, you've made it look easy, but they don't have an idea of the sacrifices and the things that you put up, and we just think we can jump in there.
And I'm wondering if I'm sure Mallory goes through the same thing, but people will reach out and say, Allie, I'm starting this. Like, what can I do? Like, tell me some tips. And there's no real equation for success online. And it's hard because when someone comes to you, you want to like be helpful and you'll share tips.
This is your business.
But there's no like equation, right? That's going to bring success. So I think sometimes people think if I do this, 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 and this, I will have success online, but that's not the case.
But what is even success?
Right. How do you define
it looks
that?
so different.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people, to answer your question, the first thing that popped into my head is I feel like people want to be seen.
Right.
Now, whether that's in a healthy way or a way for mental health purposes to feel like they're being seen, heard, appreciated, it could be stemming from a space of I'm not being heard from the people around me and my brokenness.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that it just appears attractive. Just like with some people seeing these the celebrities that have no talent that are on these
Reality
housewife
shows. Yes.
And I'm like, I don't look up to that.
That's not reality.
Some people are real,
Yes.
and they really are probably somebody I would connect with, but the platform and the scriptedness and the brokenness that is coming off and being showcased and paid for, a check is cut.
Yes.
I think that people glamorize a lot of trauma in a lot of cases, and it's not to say they shouldn't put things out there in the sake of helping heal or educate, because maybe that's why we're here as well. But I think it's just a way and an approach, and I think that some people more or less need to or think about this space of influence from I need a paycheck. And some people is really not their career ambition, but rather a hobby, and that's okay too. Everybody isn't meant to be in a space of entrepreneurship, and that's okay too.
Right.
So I think it's just different layers. Some people sincerely are doing it for fun. I met people in my modeling journey that's just like, I like doing this on the weekends. I don't care if I don't get paid. Well, my perspective is different as the next person. And
Yeah.
because it takes a lot, and
For
you
me to
invest
be-
a lot to
Yes.
be a part of that industry. So,
No,
yeah.
And I have to agree with both of you all, because when I think about some of the people out there that is influencing, that goes back to what my perception was of a influencer until you guys are starting to educate me on, is that I looked at a lot of influencers out there. Not everyone, please hear me. Mic check, mic check. They were putting themselves out in a way that they were so broken, and you can others can see it, but they don't see it. And I think until you get to a healthy place, you really have to be careful about your image that you're portraying out there. I'm also very conscious about who I'm connecting my brands with.
Very.
Because you have to go back and do your research on those people, because at the end of the day, they're still, what they say, what they do, what they wear is tied to your brand.
Right.
And so, ladies, let's talk about that. As you guys are influencing for these different brands out there or different companies, do you do your research and your homework before you agree to sit on their platform, do anything with them? How do
Due
you do?
diligence.
Yeah,
As
so when-
business women, I would absolutely encourage it. I definitely do. I've turned down opportunities
Yes.
and brands and platforms because it didn't quite align with either what I was doing at the time or what I do overall. So it could have just been a timing issue, or it just didn't fit.
It didn't fit.
So turning down business is a part of business, and knowing that is for the betterment of your business is something that could be painstaking and hurt,
'Cause you need the money
financially.
at- at the time, yeah.
Financially, some people are just like, well, I just do it. But there are a lot of ladies online that do things that I don't do for likes, shares, follows,
Yes.
impressions.
Yes.
So defining the lines, and you were talking about coming from a space of brokenness. I think that just the thought that came to mind was being authentic and being self. And some people aren't coming from the brokenness, but they're upper middle class or were brought up in very wealthy homes, and they say, I'm a snob and I'm okay with that. And they have an audience too. Somebody likes to hear and watch that. So it's however your approach or your brand strategy, at the core, it should be authentic.
Yes. So I like that. So whatever that is,
Whatever
you.
that is to you.
To you. Okay, not to the other person, but to you.
Right.
Because that's what you're portraying out there. I like that.
I had one more note, and then I know Allie probably got something to
no,
say
no,
too.
we're
But
great. I like
not
this.
even
I love
a
her
candid
insight.
conversation,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm loving listening to Mallory.
not even just brands that would solicit support for collaborations, but let's just think about makeup artists, photographers, people that do hair, production. All of those are free game to also say no to, because on the backside they have socials, they have websites. People in these industries talk, and they should, just like in the corporate world or the working world.
Yes.
When we're not working for ourselves, it's shunned upon to kind of talk about money. It's one of those things. It's like a taboo topic.
Right.
Well, I think you should. I think you should talk about it in that space. You should be talking about it with your fellow blogger, influencers, models, and just talking like we are right now will get you further insights as to maybe, I didn't think about working with this person. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
And then if 2 or 3 people are kind of telling me, and it's not from a space of being catty, it's sharing the wealth of knowledge and
Yes.
experience. If a few people have kind of said, oh, well, this person was kind of late, or, oh, they upcharged me and didn't tell me that there was a change in, the service fee, those are kind of things to think about before booking or securing a service.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I definitely research my companies. Even like an event that I got invited to, I had quickly said yes without doing my research on it. I got to the event, and it was a venue that had women like dressed with little booty shorts. And I was like, you know what? I can't actively walk in and feel happy about promoting this. Like, it just doesn't really go with
Your
it doesn't
brand.
really go with my brand. It doesn't really go with,
Your
my
beliefs.
audience. So I ended up just, telling the PR people, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to leave. And they were very understanding. But sometimes you have to make these decisions that are difficult because you don't want to wreck that relationship with that PR agency. But you also have to make a stance on what's important for your brand. And if you don't have that strength, you're just going to say yes to everything. And there's not going to be like a core set of values in what you're sharing online.
All righty. Well, we are going to take our first break, and we'll come back in with the sponsors.
VK Consultant Group would like to celebrate our client, the Texas Institute of Digestive Health, for all they have accomplished in their partnership with us. Since 2017, Dr. Victor W. Yang, with the help of VK Consultant Group, has expanded and continues to grow his practice, promoting and educating on the importance of digestive health. We would like to sincerely thank Dr. Yang for his 30-plus years of practice and for allowing us to help him make an impact on the lives of so many people across Texas. To learn more about how VK Consultant Group can help you grow, visit vkconsultantgroup.com or call 713-893-7401. That's vkconsultantgroup.com or 713-893-7401. VK Consultant Group. We are dedicated to helping you achieve maximum success in your medical practice.
Welcome back to the conversation. We're going to continue this conversation with Mallory and Alley. Let's get to it. Ready, ladies? Okay, struggling. And it's the struggles of being an influencer in the digital content and creators. Let's talk about having multiple posts, pieces of content from different clients or even the same clients. So how do we want to have that conversation? Let's talk about Shania. Come on.
Have it, because I know Mal, she'd be like, I got to post this, I got to post this from different people. So, how do you juggle that?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Even last night, I have to prep. Like I said, Allie is the bomb and doing it 30 days. I'm like,
I'm not
give
always
me
good at it. So
72 hours.
don't let that fool you.
Sincerely, because my day it feels routine to a degree because I also have branched out and I post for other brands. So that's another layer of the platform experience, my business. So I collaborate with the bridal boutique. She also owns a prom shop. So we were in amidst the prom season. So she told me, she was like, I want you to go real aggressive here. You can soften or cut back a little bit here, but I have to plan that content. Those are 2 extra social media pages to manage, not just one platform, but multiple.
So are you taking pictures are you modeling? And then
So she tried to create me a hybrid role. She just wanted me to do all the things.
Oh,
And at
okay.
one point, it came at a great time because although I was able to keep my employment with Coach during Corona, it got cut back by 10 hours when we were closed. The doors were closed, and then this small business came to me and said, hey, we work with you at the bridal shows 3 times a year. We're impressed with you. We want to work with you beyond. So she wanted me to A, model, B, take pictures and create the content post, and then
That's a lot of work.
coach her.
Oh, wow.
So, and not to even mention that she wanted me to sell dresses once a week. And I'm like, okay, so let's scale this back. So this is what I can do, and this is how we can partner. So now what we've shifted to, since I'm physically not there anymore, but she has on-site staff, her consultants that were able to physically be there more because I'm dedicated 40 hours to my management retail job. We use Dropbox. So they take what I need. I call them on the phone and I'm like, hey, I'm not getting enough videos. Reels are a big thing. We need to get more impressions. So I coach them from a strategy standpoint, and I manage the social channels online. And some things I know that, okay, well, if I work this time tomorrow, what's the height of visibility online for these pages? And reels, you have to post real time, so you can't like preempt and save them to drafts the way that you could with a regular video post or a photo collage type of swipe
So it needs
post.
to happen.
So yeah, and it's like if I'm trying to think, where's the balance? What have I done this week? The prom shop closes on Saturday. We have all these promos going on. This is
Wow.
yeah.
So you definitely need an assistant or two.
Yes, I could definitely do what I do full time and remove other aspects if I sincerely was
Wanted
ready to
Okay.
and was ready to be like, okay, let's go full throttle, because it's just that much work out there. And people are constantly looking, like you, Ms. Val, like looking for ways to grow the team, grow the impact, but that requires you to grow the team.
It does. It
and
does. It does.
I'ma
And that's
tell you,
scary.
it is scary.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about that. And you want to jump in on that before I go
I
to
know,
the
I said a
growing the
lot.
team?
Oh, no. Go right ahead.
Well, that's a scary place to be when the need is so great, but then the resources is the challenge sometimes because there is a vision, but there is a reality. It's going to cost to add that extra on. So you try to really be wise in adding, at the same time making sure when you add, you've added wisely, or everything can come crumbling down. And so, yes, and that's a business. That's being smart in business. You know.
Before you guys, we just want to let y'all know it's raining, so that's what you're hearing in the background. Because I took out my headphones, I was like, what's happening? But that's the rain in Texas.
That is the rain in Texas.
It's back. It's back.
It's back. I thought we were
Literally.
over it.
It missed us.
I thought we were over it. Allie, what do you have to say on that? I wasn't say it.
As far as scheduling and things like
Frequency and
that,
post and stuff.
it does become challenging at times, and you really have to just understand like what you're posting, when you're posting, how your readers are gonna, gravitate towards certain things. It's just really important to understand your viewership. So my viewership may be different than Mallory's or yours, so you have to understand what they're really gravitating towards and being able to provide them like things that are helpful, impactful, entertaining, that sort of stuff in that kind of space.
Well, ladies, have you guys found that doing all of this, juggling your work life, personal life, as an influencer has either negatively impacted you or positively? Because it can do both. So let's talk about that.
So as far as negative for me, I would say time management, because I could literally be on my phone doing work like 24/7. So I had to learn how to shut down. Like you have to shut down. You're not working. You're not creating. You're not taking any images. Just being in the moment. So that's been a negative for me since I started. And now that I've been doing it for a while, I have like a really good way of handling that. So I make sure I turn my phone off, or if I'm at dinner, I don't, pull my phone out. Or if I do like a campaign and I'm going on a press trip, I make sure that I do all my photos on certain days. So that way, if I'm with my family, it can just be dedicated to them. So they're not constantly feeling like they have to work too.
They're fighting for some of your attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And you? Again, that's Miss Spontaneous over there.
I know. She's like, what?
Organize my time. What? Who are you talking to? It happens when it happens.
I can be more spontaneous because I don't have a immediate family. I don't have a spouse or children.
Okay.
So some people's like, oh, well, you could do all the things and be super flexible, and that is to a detriment sometimes.
Yes. Because that's well, people won't have boundaries. They'll figure, okay, we can call Mal at any time because, well, she doesn't have kids. She doesn't appear to have a significant other, meaning she's not married. You understand?
Yes.
And so, let's just call Mal. That can be a good thing because you can get the unexpected revenue coming in. At the same time, it can also be a detriment because people won't respect your time and they won't respect the boundaries and they won't go through the process. And it won't give you the opportunity to investigate them before you take the job. Okay.
All true things. So, and we can forget about self easily.
Yes.
Considering working the way I do, and then your 2 days off seem like they're not for you. They're for your mortgage company or your car note and running to the bank, grocery shopping, and the things, and then trying to layer in. And I tried to get more intentful with it in 2021 to force myself to have more of a personal life. It's semi-working out, still working through like kinks and things, but it's, that personal space is not just about significant other. It's about your friends. Did you forget about them? Do you have any?
Yes.
Do you need to dump some and make some more? Talking. Okay.
That's so important.
Very
that
much
you
so.
have to reevaluate your circle.
One's calling now.
Yeah.
I mean, I just woke her up. I got a good 3 solid right now, and I'm good. I'm good with it.
Well, my grandmother used to always say, if you have more than 5 friends more than one hand of friends, you need to check it.
You need to
Right.
reevaluate.
You really need to reevaluate because are they really friends or associates or what are they?
And that's
Really defining the line.
I don't know if you've experienced this, Mallory, with when you start. So when I started, I had a lot of people encourage, like, "Oh, this is great. But then when they started seeing some success from it,
Oh, God.
some people started shifting, So, and that's when I really learned who was there for me.
Yeah.
Because I am naturally a collector of people. I love collecting friends. And so I will bring anyone into my home, like hang out, be transparent. But there's a problem with that because sometimes people don't respect that and they don't appreciate it. And so you never know what their intentions are. So I found since I started and now, like my surrounding group is very, very small compared to what it was before.
Well, I learned that in business, walking away from corporate America 18 years ago and deciding to go in business for myself as a woman. I didn't realize just how what I thought of friends and how I saw friends and associates. It really changed. I didn't change, but they changed. Or my situation or my availability changed. So they assumed I changed. It's just when you're in business, you have to kind of move a little different, and your time is so demanding that sometimes people are looking in and saying, oh, she didn't got the big head, or it's none of that. But what helped me is to really get to see who they were.
Yeah.
And once you see who they are, it helps you to
The
define
rest is,
there you
yeah.
go. Define that relationship.
And I'm a reformed people pleaser.
Oh God. Is that
Like
what's
sincerely.
that was me.
That was who I was. It was about people being happy with what I did for them, how I supported them. And absolutely, I would 100% agree that once I got into modeling and creating a brand, there was a shift. I wasn't asking to go to the movies or go to the club with friends anymore. It was, can you buy a ticket to my annual fashion show? Can you support me that way? It was turning down the random girl trips with girls that I ain't talked to in 2 or 3 years. And I'm looking like, why is this? No, I got a call recently and I'm like, I haven't talked to them and I don't know when. Or, people questioning, well, why is she not on the scene with us anymore? But we know that she got it, or she can do what she want. And you're right, I can.
And I'm choosing not to.
I'm choosing not to.
Yes.
And me not feeling that others validate.
Right.
So it really, it's tough, but you can also be a supportive friend having money or not having money, because we see these memes all the time. Share something I post or something influential I said. Come to an event one time a year. You know what I'm saying? Or just write me something nice under my post. I remember that.
Right. And you know what? Right there is more valuable. To me, if someone just encourages you, that's more valuable than me going and spending money, or you spending money on me. Just show me that you care. And sometimes, Shania always says, you like affirmations of
So like my love language is words of affirmation. Yeah. So just I like the little things. It's the little things for me. So for example, my coworker Kendra, she brought me like a little makeup bag with like little makeup in it, and I was so excited because like it was the little things because she didn't have
to do it.
She didn't even know it was coming. And what Kendra said was, I have a surprise for Shania. She's been so supportive since the day I walked in here. I just love her. I have
That's
a surprise
sweet.
for her.
So
and
nice.
so she comes in and she hands that to her. Those things
It was sitting on my
mean-
desk. That's sweet.
Right.
those
I
things
wish I could see
mean
my
something.
face.
So, okay. Let's talk about the perks of being an influencer. Are there any perks? I heard there are a whole bunch. Let's talk about that.
There's a
come on,
ton
Allie.
of perks.
Come on, Allie. Let's talk about
So, you know, with working hard, you definitely are going to get some perks. So
Right.
there's like some vacation perks, there's restaurant perks, there's, you know, event perks that you can go to. For example, I went to a Johnny Walker event last night, and it was great because they're launching a product here in Houston, and it's the only city in the country that they're launching it in. So it's like, that's really neat that I get to be a part of something like that. You know, so all this exposure to stuff that I would normally not have exposure to. Like I took my family to a Rockets game 2 years ago, and we got to be in the Toyota suite, and the cheerleaders came up. So here are my kids thinking like this is a normal, like, oh, I can't wait to go to another Rockets game. I said, no. This is not. You see those tickets up there, like those seats up there? That's where we're sitting. We're not coming back here. But like that made me feel so good as a mom to be able to give that to my children, to be able to feel like I'm giving a part of my kids, like, you know, this experience that normally they would have never gotten. And because of my work and how hard I've been working, it's not like it just happens overnight.
Right.
Mallory can probably say it too. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and then you develop relationships with agencies and things like that. And then these
that
kind
comes
of,
from your credibility.
yes.
So no one is going to just let you be on their brand.
Right.
No one's going to just drop perks if they're not gaining something from you.
Yep. As a matter of fact, with the car company, that's Toyota, I've been working with them several times. So,
Okay.
Awesome.
yeah.
Yes. Mallory.
You just transitioned that nicely and said that they want something from you too. And that's true. You have to go into it knowing that
You
too.
have to.
So no risk without reward. So you may go and be a day in the life ambassador for them. However, in exchange, they might say, okay, well, we're giving you X for Y, X amount of posts or X amount of engagements.
Yes.
So, or it could be a longer term of like a contract and an ongoing
Relationship.
collaboration, or relationship. I definitely think the land of social media and influence gives a lot of perks in the sense of showing up to local events or to even things that are on a broader scale, depending on how much you've penetrated your market. Walking in a room and, you know, feeling like, oh, okay, I've never met her before, but then them feeling like they absolutely know you. They're like,
I like that because you've really, they see you out there. You're an influencer. You have been on social media. It's like, I've seen this face before. Oh, wow, she's all over, everywhere.
yes, and your name is in rooms before you arrive, and that's a pretty powerful perk. Payment is perk.
That's a nice
big
perk.
perk.
Upgrades of all types are perks. But it for me, it honestly, the perks are positive, and then you kind of look around and you're like, oh well, how could it? I look at things. I try and look at them twofold. How could it be a perceived negative? And I think that sometimes people think they love who you are online or in your pictures, but then you grant them a little bit of access.
Oh, God.
And
That is true.
the story can change. The relationship can change, which is
So
tough
how
to manage.
How do you manage the access? And I'm so glad you said that because I really wanted to talk about that because as an influencer, you're saying to a company that you're going to be that brand ambassador. But that company is now saying, I need to know a little bit more. I need to be able to, for you to be a little more of a, how do you manage that?
accessibility.
Yes. How do you manage it? How do you do that?
I try and create some boundaries. I'm pretty look. I'm a
You
straight
been-
shooter.
Okay.
I tell people quite often, like, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. It may have some flexibility, but not too much.
This is
beyond
what I'm agreeing to do.
This is what I'm
and this
agreeing
is what-
to do.
Okay.
And the contracts really outline that. It outlines the frequency. Sometimes it'll say the language, the certain colors or aesthetics. So, depending on the brand that you're working with and how much they have their stuff together will then determine how much you have to bring your stuff all the way full circle together. And brands, I don't know, Allie, what your turnaround is, but I find myself customizing my media kit quite often because it depends on what they're looking for. Okay. I could send you a PDF template on my stats. That's neither here nor there. But if you want specific rates for specific customizable services, then you got to give me a minute to create that so that we are agreeing on set terms and what you want, and that it fits what your needs are and mine.
Okay.
And so not being afraid to discuss that either, and discussing in writing is helpful.
Yes, big time. So even with the brands that are not organized, I have a contract that I have in place. So I make sure it's all outlined, how long they can use my images for. Because sometimes companies feel like, well, we had a contract with you, so we own that image forever. And it's like, no, because if I'm working with you right now and you're a certain car company, and then let's say 6 months down the road I work with another car company, it doesn't look right if my image is floating with me with that one car company and then working with a new one. So I always try to keep it very, very clear on how long they're able to use my images and likeness for.
I've never heard that, but that's
That
Yeah.
you
makes
got a
a
time limit.
that
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. I like that
Yeah.
because, again, we're educating and y'all educating me because that's so true. Someone having your image because you agreed to advertise or let them advertise on your platform or you advertise on them, that's not forever.
And some brands really do think that it is. And unless you sit down, it's just like having a conversation. It's a
Yes.
business transaction, and making sure that everybody's on the same page is super important. So if there's a brand that doesn't have a contract in place, I have a contract that I use
I love it.
just to make sure. But you learn this stuff
And-
because you get burnt along the way, and
The
then you
legalities,
realize,
even the basics, you gotta
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
know.
one of the things, and one of the things that I have absolutely loved with this transition, and I know, ladies, please, this conversation
No
is so
rush.
good, I
yeah.
cannot cut it off. One of the things that I love so much is, and I do from business, there is a contract. There has to be an agreement, because if that agreement is not in place, I can't be held to a certain standard and you can't be held to a certain standard. So we need to make sure that there is an understanding. And when someone breaches that agreement, then we can walk away, agree to disagree. And
Right.
walk away. Wow. Yeah.
it really is to protect
really-
both parties.
And I
Sincerely.
really like to hear you, young ladies, that's doing it and doing it right. From a business consultant for 18 years. We're proud of that. That's where so many business owners miss the mark. We want to go into business, but you don't understand 101 of business. Where's your contract? You don't start anything without having an agreement. Okay. Well, I think we talked about the perks. The last question I have before we wrap up this thing here, let's talk about your hopes as an influencer, the possibilities of more people becoming influencers, and building your clientele as an influencer. Let's talk about that.
Oh, wow. Okay, I think for me, like my future goals, is that kind of
That's
like where we want to
exactly
kind of go?
Yeah.
So for me, as far as my future goals, I definitely want to be able to branch out and reach more women that will be inspired by what I share. And I do it in a way where I kind of like mix it in with my daily life. So there's always like these hidden messages of strength and hope and grace in everything that I share. And so like just to see that continue to grow will just make me happy in what I do every day. Because the real point of me getting into this space was to touch women's lives, to make them feel like that woman that's home that just feels like, oh gosh, I don't have no direction. I have no purpose. I never want a woman to feel that. I feel like every single person has a purpose. And for me, in my particular business, it's focused on women. But I just want everyone to feel that way, that just doesn't have that light in their life. And hopefully they come onto my space and they find a little bit of glimmer of that.
That's beautiful. That's good. Okay, and you, Miss Mallory?
I think in a nutshell, I want my brands to continue to inspire and motivate using the tool or the vehicle fashion and inclusion and diversity. So that is, in essence, my entire brand, all things diversity and inclusion using the fashion and beauty vehicle. So if I can share inspirational stories of my past or times that haven't been so great and stemming from brokenness and not knowing that years ago the body I hated would become the body I loved, and so many women, over 66% of women, more than the average, is a plus size woman.
Right.
So there's a lot to be said and respected and honored about our bodies, where we are in our body love journey. And I just want to, continue to spread a good word of including women of color, women in business, women of all shapes and sizes.
Well, I love that.
I
love
love
that.
it. It's
I
just-
love that. Well, it's funny you say that. I was on Instagram, I guess about a month ago, and actually maybe about a month ago, there was an influencer on there, and she is a plus size model, and she was talking about, she was on a live with someone else, and she was talking about how people were fat shaming her. And because she was good in her skin, she was okay with her size, beautiful woman. And then when I looked at her, I'm like, what are you talking about, fat shaming? For me, looking at her, she didn't look like she was overweight. So in this conversation, she was sharing some of the nasty posts that people were putting out there about her. And she said that she had got very depressed to the point that she wanted to just, y'all know what happens when you get depressed. She said, but she had to kind of shake herself out of that, because she said, this is me, and I'm okay with me. And so she did the opposite. She started really showing herself. She started dressing up, and there were outfits that you didn't think a person that's a plus size would wear. But I would say she was slaying it. And she didn't do it in a way that was distasteful. It was very tasteful. She had on some of the outfits. I was like, oh, girl. yes. And so I love hearing you say, and what I love about you, too, is that you guys really care about the women. And we have to be careful about what we're posting, what we're saying, and what we're responding to out there. So I want to say that I know I took this conversation a little deeper, a little different, but I have learned so much from these ladies. Influencers, I want to call you guys the ambassadors of influence. You ladies have,
So
oh
sweet.
my God, this conversation has been more than just influencing. This conversation has been uplifting. This conversation has been encouraging, and I am super excited that you guys have agreed to come on the Love and Victory Show with Val and have candid conversation. I'm going to do what I always do. My sidekick over here, Miss Shania, we're going to go around the room, and we're going to say what we think about this show.
It was so good. I had so many questions that I probably asked later on. We get some emails or texts from me. I'm like, how do I do this and all that? But because it's such a really interesting thing. Influence is so big now, and everyone's like, okay, how do I do this? How do I get in this? But learning and becoming okay that this is going to take a process, and it's going to take a while, but the journey is going to be worth it at the end. So that's what you ladies taught me. And it's so much about, like, as anything, there's a lot to go into it. So, yeah.
All righty. Miss Mallory, what do you think about our conversation today?
Today's conversation gave me a new insight and perspective going forward. And for me, no matter how tough the day before was or the week leading, moments like this can remind you of just why you're doing what you're doing.
Wow.
I love
So today has been refreshing because it's been a challenge of a week. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, oh, I gotta get up. I gotta try and get my life, get my face beat down a little bit, looking the part, even though the people are hearing me.
Right.
I'm just like, but this was a great way to start my
Wow.
day. And I sincerely thank you all for the invitation and trusting my partnership with your brand. It means a lot.
It does. Okay. Come on, give it to me. What do you think?
Oh gosh, I just feel like it was just so empowering in so many ways to be able to share. And for me, sometimes you're doing your job and you just don't know, like, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? Should I continue on this path? But then when you sit down and you discuss things like the way that I am today, I realize I've really invested a lot of time in this, and I do have a lot of information to share and be helpful to others. So this has given me like validation to just keep doing what I'm doing, because I do love what I do. But sometimes you have those little questions in your mind, like, should I continue? Should I go to like a traditional job situation? But now, like, just talking about it and getting information out there and helping others makes me realize this is my purpose. This is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Wow. Well, ladies, I want to say again to Mallory Richardson, Mallory B. Richardson, and to Alley Leto. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Can you please tell the people where they can find you at, Mallory, and then I'm sorry, Allie, if you can let the people know how to find you.
Absolutely. On all social media platforms at Mal the Model, especially on Instagram, because that's what I love. And you can find my website and portfolio of modeling and ways to contact me at www.malloryb.com.
All righty.
And I'm also on all social media platforms under Life of Alley, and it's ALLEY. And you can find all my contact information at www.lifeofalley. Again, that's LIFEOF, and that's ALLEY.com.
All right then.
Nice.
You guys have heard from these ladies. I call them the ambassadors of influencers, and you will hear from them again on the Love and Victory Show. But before I end this, I want to always thank my listeners, thank our followers. Thank you so much for supporting this journey that God has us on. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
When you donate to L&V Enterprise Resources, you are helping someone find a job. You are strengthening your community and ultimately doing your part to conserve the planet. L&V offers resources to and for individuals with disabilities to further their education, acquire job skills, and find an employment that is meaningful and impactful, not only for their own lives, but also for the world at large. Visit lverinc.com to donate. The possibilities are endless. Let's explore them together.